This is not an inconvenient truth, but I do have a lot to cover, so just bear with me real quick. Coming from 1 Corinthians 14, this is to answer some questions people have about speaking in tongues. Verse 2, it says that if you have the ability to speak in tongues, you'll be talking to God since people won't be able to understand you. So it's not just a language that you speak and others all of a sudden hear it in their language. Okay? And later in verse 2, it says it will all be mysterious. Verse 4, a person who speaks in tongues is strengthened personally, which means you have your private prayer time. It's different than if you're speaking for someone else to interpret. Okay? Verse 5, I wish you could all speak in tongues, but even more, I wish you could all prophesy, for prophecy is greater than speaking in tongues unless someone interprets what you are saying. Did you catch it? He's saying speaking in tongues is not as important as prophecy unless someone can interpret. But if someone can't interpret, it's still valid. It's just not at the same level of prophecy. Verse 6, he talks about it being an unknown language. Verse 13, let's go to verse 13. So anyone who speaks in tongues should pray also for the ability to interpret what has been said. So just because you have the gift of tongues doesn't mean you get the tongues interpretation. Now, some would say, well, that means that if you don't get the gift of interpretation, you shouldn't speak in tongues at all. Well, let's go down to verse 28. But if no one is present who can interpret, they must be silent in the church meeting, in the congregation, and speak in tongues to God privately. It doesn't say pray to God privately. It says speak in tongues to God privately, which is your private prayer language. Okay? Verse 18, I thank God that I speak in tongues more than any of you, but in a church meeting, I would rather speak 5 understandable words to help others. Did you catch what he's saying? He's saying, I can speak in tongues, don't have the gift of interpretation. You hear that? This is Paul. Verse 21, this is from the Old Testament. I will speak to my own people through strange languages and through the lips of foreigners, but even then they will not listen to me. That sounds a lot like today. Verse 22, so you see that speaking in tongues is a sign not for believers, but for unbelievers. Prophecy, however, is for the benefit of believers, not unbelievers. Even so, that should be highlighted. Even so, he's saying this is the norm, but this is how it often works. Okay? And then verse 26, one will speak in tongues and another will interpret what is said. When you meet together. This is not talking about your private prayer. When you meet together. Okay? I don't know how many people out there are struggling with this, but a lot of people need to read 1 Corinthians 12, 13, 14, the whole section of Corinthians. I hope this helps. Be blessed, guys.